So the first question I really wanted to ask you, because this was a main topic when I spoke to Anthony Agogo, was what do you think the differences are in sort of mindset approach to the people who have made it in boxing that you've seen and the people who haven't fulfilled their potential?
I think it probably comes down to consistency and being ready to go the extra mile. So, it's one thing, to want to be a boxer and say, I want to be champion and stuff like that. But you have to consistently every day kind of put stuff in the bank towards that, whether that's working on your technique, working on your fitness, working on your diet, etc. So all those little things come together to help you create a difference between the average boxer, the good boxers, and then the ones that go on to be greats and even better are the ones that, have the extra mile mindset. Because consistency will get you far, a little bit of natural talent consistency, but then go on extra mile. We can all go for a run, we'll go for a punching session, lift some weights, but it's the extra mile ones. So you watching boxing? Are you are you doing extra reps? Do you know what I mean? Are you asking questions? Are you like, those kind of things? So I think it's consistency is key, 100%. But then on top of that, being able to go the extra mile.
Let's talk about what hard work and going that extra mile means then. So to be a sports person operating at the level that you're operating at, you can't shy away from the grind. So for you personally, what has the grind looked like since you began your journey, and what does hard work mean to you? Because I imagine, your definition of hard work and say the average person's definition of hard work may be completely different.
Yeah, for me, it's just consistently training. When days I don't want to train and stuff like that. So I think for me, like my training schedule, I mean, I've trained alongside people who haven't got as far as me, and we do exactly the same stuff. Pretty much. So I go for my runs in the morning, or I perform some cardio. I listen to my body. If today I don't want to run, I'm not going to let ego force me out the door. Do you know what I mean? But I'm also honest with myself with, can I do it? Do you know what I mean? Should I do less? Should I do a bike ride or whatever? Then I just do normal weights. I think for me, it's more so the hard work isn't just the training. It's also investing in myself. So getting a solid team. So, making sure that when I'm doing my weights, even if we all have the same 24 hours in a day, I want to make sure that mine are just a little bit more used, So I get in top quality strength and conditioning coach. So instead of me just lifting weights or doing a circuit by myself, I've got a strength coach, like going for a plan, having top quality coaching. So we can all do 90 minutes, 2 hours training in the boxing gym. But if you've got a top quality coach, walking you through it, talking you through, and you're developing, it's better use of that same 90 minutes. So I just feel like building a solid team and then just sort of being at their mercy, if that makes sense. Like even if you start making money or whatever, you still have to be at the mercy of your team to make sure you always respect coming in time, putting in 100%. Because that's a pitfall that I think, especially at this stage of my career, is one that you could fall into, becoming the boss. And no, I'm not gonna. I'd rather not. But just being at the mercy of the team.
What is it that, say you wake up one morning and, your body's saying you don't want to train, you don't feel like training, it's early, it's cold, it's wet, you got to get up and get to training. What is it that, gets you to those training sessions on those days where you're really not feeling it? Is it just that level of purpose and that level of why when you're focused on your goal? What is it that gets you up and motivates you?
I think, it's a mixture, you know what I mean? Obviously, I have my own motivations. So those motivations are kind of what kind of get me up. Obviously, the fear of losing as well, because that's another aspect. Of course, there's all the stuff you want to get, but it's also the stuff you don't want to lose. Like for me, when you box, your pride's on the line, your health's on the line, so you need to make sure that you're giving yourself the best shot. And on the other side, the stuff I want to gain. I want to be not only just a world champion, I want to be the man. Do you know what I'm saying? I want to walk in and then everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's the boxer. You don't want to, you better be, do you know what I mean? And all that kind of stuff. So for me, like my motivation, sometimes I wonder, like, I've got pure motivations, obviously, to help my family out the way that I've been doing and will continue to do. But then I've also got very like narcissistic motivations as well. Do you know what I mean? And that's okay. I feel like wherever the motivation comes from, it comes from. So, you know, I just use my motivations to kind of get me up and grind through.
On that subject as well, I talked to UFC's Bruce Buffer a few days ago, and I asked him what separates the best from the rest, and he said there's like another level of confidence. So for you personally, do you think that to be successful we have to have a bit of an ego about this?
100%. I mean, like, my career is probably 90% ego and then 10% all the other stuff. You know what I mean? Because that's it. Like, I think it really helps because it helps you to actually concentrate when you're fighting. Because, all right, cool. For example, with myself, I box in front of decent crowds. You know, thousands of people, sometimes tens of thousands of people. There's pressure on, you know, being connected to Sky Sports, Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua. You know, being on big cards, having my own. You know what I mean? Having people that critique, having people that are fans. So it comes with a lot of pressure. And even just knowing when I win this fight, oh my God, the next one could be this, or oh my God, world title fight. So there's a lot of pressure. And I feel that having that sort of confidence within yourself and within your team kind of helps you to kind of deal with that pressure. And on top of dealing with that pressure, it helps you to perform on the day because you're not thinking about how much of a crowd there is or you're not feeling it in a sense of worry. You now sort of embrace it more because it's like I'm walking to the ring. I'm like, I'm tall, I'm handsome, I know how to fight. I've got this. So all of the pressures kind of now seem like instead of it being a pressure, it's an opportunity. You know, instead of it being a hindrance, it's like everyone gets to see me have a fight right now. So I think that definitely having an ego is necessary if you really want to push to the next level. A lot of people, you know, hide it behind nice words. Oh no, just I don't know how I got here, but you do know. You know, if you weren't sure, you would be scared taking certain fights. But when you believe in yourself, you go and push for those fights. How you want to present that to the world is up to you. But for me, you have to be supremely confident.
And I guess on the flip side, for example, when you're riding the success that you are at the moment, I think for a lot of people in your position, it might be easy for their mind to wander and, you know, to run away with them. And you see a lot of guys get swept up in their success. How do you maintain that level of focus and make sure you keep the hunger and you keep your eye on the goal when you've got all this success and you've got all these people around you wanting something from you? How do you stay focused and not get carried away?
I think for me, the main thing has been having the same group of friends from when I was young. Do you know what I mean? Before I ever put on any boxing gloves, you know, and making it hard for people to sort of get into that inner circle. So that kind of presents me with people who will still take the mick out of me, poke fun at me, you know, keep me sort of grounded in that sense. And also to understand, you know, I haven't got to that point yet, you know. Sometimes I might think to myself, you know what, I grew up in a council flat. And now, you know, I'm able to go live here, live there, help my mum, blah, blah, blah. And you can feel that you've done it. But then sometimes having like solid people around who are like, oh, we want mentions. There's more that needs to be done, you know, kind of keeps you on the straight and narrow. And yeah, I think that those things are the main things for me, you know, like just always maintaining the fact that I've got goals bigger than where I am right now. And then if I hit those goals, you push for more, you know.
You mentioned you have, you know, quite a solid, tight-knit inner circle. What attributes do you look for in people before you let them into your inner circle?
They have to obviously just a solid mindset, but in terms of like pushing, because obviously it gets difficult, even for myself, you know. I'm tired, training's hard. Oh my God, this girl did this, or oh that, and you get, you know, you can get clouded, but having people that have mental clarity is important. You know, hold on, I get all that. Oh man, that must hurt, that must suck. But you know what? This is where your goal is. Push on. And also just doing their thing in their own lives. I'm not saying everyone has to be a millionaire or, you know, have a 6-figure salary or whatever it is, you know what I mean? But you have to be pushing yourself, your job. So when I come to you, I can see, or when I look around, I can see within my team, everyone's trying to do something. So I'm motivated by what you're doing. You're motivated by what I'm doing. He's motivated by you. Do you know what I mean? It just goes round and round and round. And that level of motivation now, we're all able to push each other on.
Mm. As you grow in terms of success now, and every fight's taking you to another level, I imagine that you're at a level of competition now where every edge physically is vital. So in the later years, as you've been becoming more successful, what are the best practices you've developed in terms of keeping yourself in the best physical shape?
Just being at the mercy of my team. That's it, really. Just not saying no. If they ask me to do a training exercise, I'll do it. And obviously being self-motivated in my own runs, like we can all start to get tired. I've done 80 kilometers, I've done 10. That's more than the average. Like, we're good. But then knowing within yourself what your actual limitations are and pushing towards them and beyond them, I think that those are the things that kind of set me, because that's one thing that I'm always happy with as of so far in my career, is my conditioning. Like, I don't think I've ever been outworked in a fight, and I don't anticipate it, because that's one thing that would honestly, I think there's no worse way to lose than being outgrafted or out hustled by somebody. So I just always make sure I'm in tip top shape.
As well as physical condition, I imagine in a sport like boxing, mental strength is massive. And I think, of leading up to a fight, the last few days, the hard work's already done. You've got the night before the fight day itself. You've got all this time for thoughts, doubts, nerves, questions to, swirl around your head and consume you. How do you deal with the mental side of it all?
I'm quite weird. Like, I just don't really care, if that makes sense. So I'll just go to sleep like a baby. If I'm seeing someone at the time, I'll have a nice cuddle, no sex. Just treat it like every other night, do you know what I mean? And get myself ready for a fight. I think the day of is where you should start feeling a little bit more nervous. But the night before, the week before, you're not having a fight. You're just someone who's in physical shape. So I'm calm. Same when I walk to the ring. I just get into the ring like normal. I don't feel my heart beating or like I'm nervous or anything like that. I'm just very like chilled, quite stoic. Just like, what, it's gonna be what's gonna be. I look around and see Eddie Hearn. Come on, see my team. Everyone's out. You know what I mean? But I'm just like feeding off everyone else's nerves and just being like, I got this. Until someone can show me otherwise, like, I got this. You know what I'm saying?
When you visualize your fights before they happen, are you the type of person that just eliminates any doubt? Are you only imagining the best case scenario?
I'll say 90% of the time. Obviously, the worst case scenario might creep into your head, and then you have to just flush it out. But it's what it is. I mean, like, for that about, if I didn't have that, it'd make it very hard for me to train as hard as I did. If I just kind of thought this is going to be a walk in the park, you just act like that. So I just go. I always have best case scenario, but my best case scenario is not absolutely ridiculous, and it's not ever about my punch power. It's all about skills I don't have yet, just all this, like, so I definitely do, but more times I just stick to the reality of what I actually think is going to happen,
I mean, I saw you box in 2017 in the Principality Stadium. I think it was on the AJ Takam undercard. And I got a sense for, the atmosphere in those type of situations. And I just can't bear to imagine, the emotions that atmospheres like that create. I mean, you've boxed at Wembley. You've got all these people, all these eyes watching every move. Do you feel any pressure from, the magnitude of where you're operating at? And how do you deal with the pressure?
As I said, I don't feel it at all. Like, it's weird. Like, you got lots of people. Like, we'll see as we climb up the levels, and it's more so, like in harder fights. But as of right now, I've always felt very like, cool, don't worry. Because when it's all said and done, I just focus on the guy I'm fighting, because everyone's going to leave. It's going to be me, the ref, and the guy in the bow's going to go. And then it's not about how much crowd there is or what people are watching. All that matters is he's going to throw a punch. I'm going to either block it, get out of the way, or I'm going to get hit. And I'm going to throw my punch. He's either going to block it, get out of the way, or he's going to get hit. And we're just going to keep going until someone wins.
How have you dealt with setbacks in your career?
For me, I think sprout from amateur to pro very well. Do you know what I mean? It's what it is. I just keep it rocking and rolling, like, and try and learn from the mistakes. and write them down, figure out what I could have done better, because within everyone, we all know what you could do a little bit more of, but you say, you know, maybe I don't have to, or we could do a bit less of, but I don't want to. So most times you can try and self-manage so that the losses or the lessons or whatever never happen. But if they do happen, you know, you're able to go and reflect, you know what, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have eaten this. I shouldn't have seen that person. I should have watched a bit more of this, that, and another. And then you could just develop from it. So that's what's happened in my career. Anytime I've had any sort of setback, I've just reevaluated and gone crashing forwards. Like I don't really take steps back. I might take a setback, but I keep pushing forward, you know.
You're, you know, unbeaten in your professional career. You're yet to suffer a major setback in that regard, which must breathe confidence. So, you know, you look at fighters that have 0 losses and everyone looks at them like untouchable. Everything they do turns to gold. And then, you know, it can take one loss to, you know, completely derail that. And I look at someone like Anthony Joshua, who suffered a loss and then came back even stronger, you know, and learned from it for the better. What is it like for you when people view you in this regard of untouchable and knowing that you've got a 0 on your record? What does that do for you mentally?
I don't think anyone views me in that way, and I definitely don't view myself in that way. Like I know my limitations. I know what I'm really good at and what I'm not so good at. So I never lie to myself. I'm very, very confident, but then I'm also realistic at the same time. I know, you know, the dangers that come with certain fights, certain fighters, you know, and I just match them up. It's like, you know, playing cards. You know the hand you've been dealt. You know, you roughly know what this other guy's got. You don't know if there's any tricks up the sleeve, and you know, all right, cool. When we flip this next card, we don't know what's going to happen, but ultimately you just back yourself. So for me, being undefeated doesn't give me any confidence whatsoever, except for the fact that I've beaten loads of undefeated fighters. Does that make sense? Like you could be 20 and old boxing nobody. I've boxed some decent to good fighters in my career so far, and coming out on top every time is obviously going to breed a bit of, you know what, I'm doing something right, you know. But I never get carried away with it, because there's fighters who are 30 and old undefeated. There's fighters in my division who are like the guy I boxed last in Garvey. I was 20 and old, 18, something and old. He had more fights than me. I think he was like 21 and old at the time. I have to check that out. I had 13 fights, 13 and old versus 20 and old. I still got the knockout. So I never really let it carry me away, because I beat him. My third fight was against an undefeated fighter, Chamberlain, undefeated fighter, Luke Watkins, undefeated fighter, Ngabu, another undefeated fighter. Do you know what I mean? So for me, that's 4, 5, however many undefeated fighters that I've boxed and beaten. So I always look at it and say, you know what, anything that I'm capable of doing is capable of getting done back to me if I'm not 100%, or if I make this mistake or that mistake. So being undefeated doesn't mean anything. You know, some of the best fighters in the world have got losses. You know, it might only be one official loss or whatever, but you look at someone like Canelo, you look at someone like Bernard Hopkins. You know, we all look at the Mayweathers, the Joe Kazakis, and we say to ourselves, that is it. That is the be-all and end-all of boxing. But no, there's fighters who take L's. Cotto took L's, but still a wonderful fighter. So I kind of just don't pay too much attention to and the fact I'm undefeated and so on and so forth. So yeah, sorry for rambling, but that's how I feel.
Perfect. What are some of the biggest lessons that boxing has taught you from a young man to now?
Hard work pays off. That's one of the main ones. Hard work really pays off, and always invest in yourself. You know, invest in yourself. Like there's so many other things you can spend on or invest in. Company, this and that. You know, another person, a relationship, anything. When you invest in yourself, it opens up so much more. Because I watched a really interesting thing not too long ago where it was talking about 24 hours in a day. And what the person basically went on to say, and I really took it, is, well, not everyone has 24 hours in a day, you know? A lot of times people change you know, time for money. So I work for X amount an hour. But the people at the top swap money for time. So what I'm basically getting at is, when it comes to investing in myself, I'm talking about paying for top quality team. So I can't run a test on myself. I don't know how to. And I haven't got the time to learn that to implement into boxing. All I want to do is wake up and know I'm going to go for this run. I'm going to eat this. I'm going to do that. So I feel like that adds to my day. So that same 24 hours, I've now added someone else's time in there. You know, I've added someone else's experience. And so I feel like investing in yourself 100%, building the gym in the back, that's something I wish I'd done years ago, but I hadn't. You know, obviously with COVID and stuff like that, it kind of highlighted the importance. But now, when I'm off camp, instead of being a big, you know, cruiserweight that's, you know, fluctuating between cruise and heavyweight, it's like, all right, cool, I've got a place to just still be at home, walk across the back garden and get my training sessions in. You know, I feel like, yeah, investing in yourself 100% is one of the best things that I think I've learned from boxing. So that's something I'll be taking out of boxing as well. Hard work pays off, and always invest in yourself and your team.
When you get to a certain level in professional boxing that you're at, and you've got, you know, people talking about potential, you know, world titles, you've built up a profile, you've got massive social media influence, you've got, you know, some passive income coming behind you, you start to become a bit of a businessman as well as a boxer, because, you know, everything's about moving money at that point. You've got this influence, you've got companies in your ear. What have you learned, or if you have learned anything at this point from a business perspective?
That you're only in your prime once. So you got to make sure that you're secure for after boxing. You know, I spent money that I now realize is silly on designer clothes, a good time, etc. You know what I'm saying? But obviously you have to learn, as I've had to learn, that, you know what, like there's times where, i.e. COVID, there's no boxing matches happening. Thank goodness I have some good sponsors. But aside of that, you're not making money until you have a fight. You get an injury, you take an L, anything. It puts you backwards. So you have to be a solid businessman. But what we've learned, and what I like my management company for 258, etc., is everything straight down the middle, clean shooting. Pay your debts on time. Pay everyone that works with you on time. And everyone will put in that work with you and for you.
What is your most empowering belief in life?
What is meant to be will be. This is it. You know, any fight, anything that's a distraction or a hindrance or a positive, or it's gonna be what it's gonna be. There's no point in fretting over it. You have a big fight. I have a world title fight coming up. I'm either going to win or I'm not. I can do everything I can to push towards that victory. But when it's all said and done, the gloves will go on. No one knows. I don't know what's happening the next second, let alone my next fight. So for me, what will be, will be.
What would your best advice be to people pursuing their dreams? Even people who aren't involved in boxing, so in any facet of life, what's your best advice in pursuing your dreams?
I think the best advice is always count on yourself, back yourself 100%. And once you back yourself, push yourself to the limit. There's no point in empty words. I believe I'm going to be the best interviewer. I believe I'm going to be the best doctor. Or I'm going to open this up. Words and belief without action are just a waste of oxygen, you know? So really believe, back yourself, invest in yourself, and push 100%.
You mentioned a few minutes ago about investing in yourself. What are some of your favorite ways to invest in yourself outside of boxing and fitness? Is it reading? Is it learning? Is it business? Is it relationships?
Relaxing, investing in relaxation and recovery is also important. When it comes to training, I'm all in. Gym equipment, gym time, space, effort, blah, 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 whatever. When it comes outside of boxing, a good holiday, you know, a good massage, a good chill time, you know, good food, you know, chef, whatever it is that's necessary at the time, get in and get it done well.
I have just, 2 or 3 quick fire questions before we go. Who are some of your biggest mentors in life? People you may know personally or people you've never met?
I think Umar Kamani, who is a sponsor and owner of Pretty Little Thing, along with Samir Kamani, who's his brother, owner of Boohoo, same family sponsorship. I think they're like up there with the top 2 out of 3, and then obviously Anthony Joshua. In terms of sport and business, in terms of personal life, of course, my mum, dad. But in terms of Lawrence Okolie as a boxer, 100%. They're 3 people who kind of told me to knuckle down and stop spending on X, start spending on Y, or think about, or better yet, what they're more on is research this. Take some time out, take a few hours, research this. Let me know what you think. You can carry on doing what you're doing. That's completely fine. It's your money, but think about X, think about Y. What's a bigger? Because I think a lot of times with myself, it's all about the flex. I'm boxing on TV. I'm the guy. Let's enjoy. I'm not this guy out. Blah blah blah. But then once all of the flex is over and I can't box anymore, I'm too old. I'm no longer strong or fast. What's left? Where's the substance? Where's the what have you actually got to show for yourself? And I thought it's too easy to spend and enjoy. And when you're young and getting it, so after you're left 35, 36, 37, oh wow, hold on a minute, where's it all gone? I was just make it. Okay, damn. All right, back to McDonald's it is. We can't have that. So let's work.
Are there any books or programs or anything like that have massively impacted your life and taught you a lot?
Any what, sorry?
Books or maybe programs or anyone who's ever taught you anything?
I'm not so much a learner from those kind of things, I don't think, unless I'm recommended a book. I would more so say it's real life experiences with real life people who I can see, who I can have a conversation with person to person. When you've got someone whose family have come from nothing and become billionaires, when you've got someone like AJ who's come from nothing and become a multi-millionaire and a champion, when they talk, you have to listen.
So my last question for you is, when all is said and done, what do you want your impact on the world to be? What do you want people to remember you by?
First of all, at this age, a good boxer, world championship boxer, and put respect on my skills. That's A. And then afterwards, a fantastic businessman and family man.
Love it. Lawrence, thank you so much for your time, man. I really enjoyed this interview, and I wish you all the best in your career and going forward. I'll be right behind you.
Thanks a lot, brother.